Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a dark one because war is here. British paratrooper killed in Ukraine. We can't deny it now. We can't deny it. The names are out. The numbers are starting to tally up. Yes, this is one. I'm considering that this is going to be one of many. Now, I don't want that to be the case, but I believe it will be. War is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. British paratrooper killed in Ukraine. That's what we're going to be focusing on. And the migrant carnage that is hitting Western Europe, that is certainly hitting the United Kingdom. So before I get on to my opening monologue, ladies and gentlemen, when I give this monologue and I talk about, I'm gonna omit quite a lot of stuff. I'm an ex-paratrooper myself. I do have a little bit of inside information on this. I'm not going to divulge that. What I will say is, like, people don't need to know. Literally, guys, like I don't need to know. You don't need to know. And as I get more information about what's happened here, I won't be sharing that because we don't need to know. You guys don't need to know. That's the reality, okay? Karen, who works at the supermarket on the tills, she doesn't need to know how this guy died. It makes no significance to her life, okay? There are some things that people just don't need to know, and this certainly is one of them. And out of respect, guys, I'm not going to divulge any information that I know. All I will do is go from the mainstream, and I will omit this gentleman's name. I won't mention his name at all, guys, okay? I'm not going to mention this guy's name. Just out of respect, okay? Just out of respect. He was from my old unit. I served in the parachute regiment as well. The world is crazy now, guys. We've upped a notch. I don't know how long people can be in denial. Really, guys, I don't know how long people can be in denial. Like, just as a question right now, guys, all right? Is anybody still in denial that we are not in World War III and that World War IV hasn't already started? You know, because denial is a luxury we can no longer afford. We really can't afford the... sorry, guys, let me put the chat on. We really can't afford the luxury of denial right now because that's what it is. If you don't think that we're in World War III, you're in denial. You really are in denial. And we can no longer afford the luxury of denial. Like, is anyone still clinging to the delusion that World War III hasn't begun? Look at the human toll. Look at the lives lost. Earlier on this morning, guys, I was giving the facts and the figures and the numbers and the maths. It's not looking good. We're being fed a lie that this is all just escalation or support. Can you guys remember, actually? Can you guys remember right at the beginning of the Ukraine conflict when it was just going to be non-lethal humanitarian aid, helmets and body armor, which has very quickly escalated to British boots on the ground and coming back in body bags. Today's headlines scream the reality, ladies and gentlemen. They scream the reality. A British paratrooper killed on active duty in Ukraine. That's the reality. I'm not making that up. This is not speculation. This is not one of the guys that went out there and joined the Ukrainian military. This is an active member of the British Parachute Regiment. Dead, gone, finished. They're not coming back. A young man from our own country, gone in a tragic accident, while embedded. I'm going to go with the official sources, guys. People don't need to know. Nobody needs to know what really happened other than a young man's lost his life in Ukraine. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know how, why, what, when, why. Like, you don't need to know that. You don't. You really don't. But at what point... at what point do people in the United Kingdom and across Europe and across the world drop the pretense and accept what's already upon us? Like, does it take one soldier coming back in a body bag? One British soldier coming back in a body bag? What about 2? What about 10? What about 50? Would that lead anybody to... Like, how many people need to die before people start to wake up and understand that we are in a war with Russia. How many people need to come back in body bags? We're getting 50 dead a month. Yeah, but it's not a war. It's not a war. It's just accidents. It's just road traffic. Like, how many people need to die before people start accepting the inevitable? I've been talking about this, guys, and I've been saying it's coming, and it's here now. We need to drop the pretense and accept what's already upon us. Europe, led by the United Kingdom, is at war with Russia. Whether there's a declaration or not, I don't think that matters, guys. I don't think that matters. Whether there's a declaration or not, I don't think that matters. Like, do you really think, serious question, guys, do you really think that there's going to be some grand Churchillian announcement from Keir Starmer? Sorry, guys, I can't say that with a straight face. Do you think there's going to be some grand Chinchillian? Maybe it will be a Chinchillian announcement. Serious question, guys, all right? Do you think that there will be a grand Churchillian announcement from Keir Starmer in like a little bomber jacket, half zipped with his tie, looking mean, with his glasses on? Do you think that's going to happen? You know, bells ringing from bells ringing from Downing Street, Big Ben ringing, you know, and all the soldiers marching through the streets. It's not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen. This is a slow, grinding slog to the inevitable, full military deployment. Like, you know when people used to say to me, oh, but Sean, what about boots on the ground? I was like, yeah, they're already on the ground, guys. You know, boots are already on the ground. You know, it's just because we've not had this big announcement. I don't think anybody can deny that boots are not on the ground now. When people start dying, you can't deny boots are on the ground. You can't do that anymore. Boots are on the ground, you know. This is the slow grinding slog, you know, to the inevitable. Full military boots on the ground. I mean, like a green deployment. This is a black deployment. There's going to be a green deployment. Battles that will scar our continent for generations. And I have, guys, I've said this before. I keep saying it. I've said it for over a year. I'll say it again right now. The Europeans need drastic reforms. We need really drastic reforms if we want to win. Otherwise, we might as well learn to speak Russian. If we want to win this war, and I don't like to lose, we need more men. That's it. We need more men. Nothing else. Forget your drones and your little bits of technology. We need more men. Because every war in every history, every single one, is fought, won, and lost by private soldiers on the front line with bayonets and rifles. Not drones, not diplomats, but by men. And we need more men. We don't need more diplomats. What's that song? The diplomats were dancing. They cancelled all the wars. What's that song? I don't know. There's a song. I don't know. Let's look at the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the facts. Now, I am going over a little bit what I spoke about this morning. But, you know, look, guys, this is relevant. This really is relevant because this situation is escalating by the hour now. When this war started, things were escalating like week by week. You had the movements. Then it was day by day. Now it's hour by hour. So let's look at some facts. And these are facts, ladies and gentlemen. And like I always say, if my facts offend you, all right, I don't care. Russia is churning out around 150 tanks per month. All right. That's more than the entire UK fleet. And many of that fleet, the UK fleet, is not operational. And guess what? The UK We're not building any more. We're just maintaining the ones we have. So here in the United Kingdom, we're not producing any more tanks. And the Russians are producing 150 tanks per month. Now, guys, look, if you want to question those statistics, go and watch my previous live stream where I shared everything with you. You know, and I would speculate of though I think the British, if you guys want to go on like I don't know, do a Google search, how many tanks does the British military have? How many Challenger 2 tanks? Sorry, which is the British military's main battle tank. The official figure is 148. Britain has 148 main battle tanks, and the Russians are producing around 150 a month. I get it. You know, Challenger 2 is a better tank. It's not 150 times better. It's not, you know. They only carry 50 rounds of ammunition. 49 and one up the spout. So best case scenario, the British tank, this is like ridiculously best case scenario, and this is never going to happen. This is like hypothetical. Just the numbers don't add up. If a British tank can destroy Russian tanks with an invincibility rate, some sort of invincibility cloak, they can still only ever destroy 50 tanks before they have to be resupplied. Then they've got no ammunition, and then when they've got no ammunition, guess what? They're going to get shot. Can everyone stop getting shot? We're not ramping up production, guys, okay? We are not building any more new tanks. So this isn't a question of if this war explodes. It's a question of when. You know, it might never be formally announced, just the relentless push until our sons are conscripted, our cities are on alert. And this is what I've been talking about, guys, for such a long time. This is what I'm talking about, World War III. All right, this is World War III. Right now, we are in World War III. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Please fact check me. Tell me I'm wrong, all right? But hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your horses. Don't get too excited. Because World War IV is going to be raging concurrently. Yep, World War III and World War IV are going to be concurrent. Some would argue, me included, that World War III has already started. Now, World War IV, did I say three? World War IV, sorry, is the inevitable civil conflict that's brewing across Europe, in the United Kingdom, stemming from uncontrolled mass migration. Now, whether you want to believe this or not, walk down your high street and then tell me I'm wrong. And the sooner, honestly, guys, the sooner the masses wake up to what's happening, the better. You know the 9 till 5 Janet and Johns? And I don't mean any disrespect to the 9 till 5 Janet and Johns. You guys are fantastic. But you really need to open your eyes and stop listening to the news. Listen to Raven, because Raven tells you what's coming long before anybody else does. I tell you guys things that's coming long before they're coming, and it's not even popular at that time. So I tell you things that are coming in like a year's time, and nobody even cares. They're like, what's Sean on about? Sean's waffling on about the Falklands and Antarctica and oil. Oh, God, we're not interested in that. Yeah, guess what? Real soon you're going to be. Sean's talking about World War III in Ukraine. Oh, that's not going to be it. We're just providing them support. Yeah, really? Tell that to the Parachute Regiment soldiers' family. I'm not going to mention his name, guys. Like I said, the sooner the masses wake up to what's happening, the better. You know, really, guys, really, the sooner more people understand that we're in it now. We can't get out of it, As soon as people grasp that no one is coming to save them, there's going to be no cavalry, no miracles, no silver bullets. The sooner you can mount your own defense. every day in the United Kingdom, literally every day. You guys know what I'm going to say, right? You know what I'm going to say. Every day in the United Kingdom, the headlines hammer it home. And I am going to try and keep this as unoffensive as possible. Every day the headlines, migrants linked to crime. Migrant crimes. Against young girls, against young boys, and even animals now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, donkeys. Fucking donkeys. Sexual assault against donkeys is now a thing. Go and Google it. Guys, So our girls are not safe. Our boys are not safe. Our animals are not safe. I mean, when you think about donkeys, it's like interspecies rape. It's wild, guys. We're in it's a brave new world, and we are welcoming these people with open arms. We're giving them 3 meals a day and a nice hotel and a nice warm bed, while people who we may be scraping off the streets to go and fight a war don't get anything. It's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely crazy. We've got illegal delivery drivers. We've got heroin being smuggled across the channel. Violent assaults that numb us with their frequency. This isn't isolated. These are not isolated incidents. This is a pattern that is eroding our society from within. So for simplicity, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to are you alive? If you're alive, this is going to affect you, right? I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you the brackets now. I'm going to give you Ravens, Overton, window. All right. For simplicity, from my analysis, if you're under 30, maybe some of you guys don't know how old you are, but I know how old I am. So if you're under 30, you'll be fighting World War III on the Eastern Front. You will. That's where we're going. If you're over 30, you will be battling World War IV on our streets. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're over 30, we owe it to these young men and women who are going to go out to fight World War III to make sure there's a country worth them coming back to. Sure, there's going to be exceptions. There's going to be a shake-up. There's going to be overlaps, I am probably going, I'm more than likely going to be an international guy. I'm an international man of mystery, guys. I do international stuff. I feel more at home operating in other countries. But the divide is clear, Over 30, you're going to be fighting World War IV. Under 30, you're going to be fighting World War III. Of course, there's going to be, overlaps, etc. Let's look beyond Europe, gaze at the chaos across the globe right now. Tell me I'm wrong. Honestly, guys, seriously, right? If you're on right now, please fact check me. Maybe I am wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everything I've said is wrong. Maybe no British soldiers have died in Ukraine. Maybe the Russians can't produce 150 tanks per year. Maybe Britain has more than 148 tanks. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Fact check me. Scrutinize my numbers. Prove me wrong. I honestly, guys, I welcome people. I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope I'm wrong. This is our reality right now. This is the reality of the world right now. If you live in the United Kingdom, you know it's coming. You can see this like a tsunami. Like when in a tsunami, when the tide goes out and you're like, oh, that's a bit odd. It's going to come back in. We're not in a case of when, guys. We're in a, it's more of a case of when, not if. Very soon, nothing else will matter. I remember this when you're in a war, when you're in a fight, nothing else matters except his sword and your sword. That's not a gay slur. That's not a homosexual slur about sword fighting. Nothing else matters, guys. When you're in a fight, nothing else matters. You and him. That's all that matters. Nothing else matters. Very soon, we're going to be there. And that's why Keir Starmer doesn't care. That's why Keir Starmer doesn't care about mass migration. He doesn't care because he knows what, I don't actually think Keir Starmer does know what's coming. I'll be quite clear. I don't think Keir Starmer knows what's coming, but his handlers, the people who are controlling Keir Starmer, they absolutely do know what's coming, guys. They absolutely do know what's coming. Yet, and I am a space geek, guys. I am a space geek. I'm not going to lie. After the Second World War, there was a push, a rush. We had a space race. We had an explosion in technology after the Second World War. You can call it Operation Paperclip. You can call it MK Ultra. You guys can call it whatever you want. But there was an absolute, forward. There was an absolute push in technology. In the ashes of all this, I do hold on to a little bit of hope. I do. When it's over, and at some point it will be over, there's nothing. And when I mean over, we're either all going to be in like a radioactive hellscape or something in between. But this will end. I promise you guys, this will end at some point. It's not going to be soon, but it will end. One way or another, we're either all going to be speaking Russian or I don't know, but it will end. I think we can finally look upwards, because I don't think humanity's best days are in front of them. I think humanity's best days are above them. I want to see humans go into space. I want to see humans stop fighting each other over bits of land that have no real significance. And then in 10 years, you give them back anyway. Nobody really cares. So, I do think that's the reality, if we endure, if we can endure this and it's not a Megadeth scenario. And even if it is a Megadeth scenario, I still think humans will prevail. Right, guys, I'm going to jump on to the chat. How long have I been monologuing there? I've been going for 22 minutes, guys. I've been going for 22 minutes. Band Again has saying, the word for rifle. So the word for rifle in Arabic is bandagira or bandagira. So every time I see band again, I think bandagira. I think it's called rifle. Oh, hang on. Right, I need to find Googly's comments. Sorry, guys, I've been neglecting the comments. I do apologize. I've been neglecting the comments. Right, sorry, guys. I'm just scrolling up to find Googly's comments. Right, where's Googly's comments, guys? There's loads of comments on here. Oh, Googly, thank you for the super. Russia plotted to bomb flights to US, burn down shopping centers, and poison Europe's water. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, did I not say that was coming? Water. Check your water. Water. Look, guys, bombing flights it's difficult, right? It is difficult. There's a lot of security at airports. It's not impossible. If you've got enough money, you've got any influence, you can do that. Burn down shopping centers, absolutely. That is an easy thing. Burning down stuff is it's a method of operation, guys. It's an absolute method of operation for bad guys. It's a method of operation. Petrol. Although you think petrol's expensive, it's a lot cheaper than a GPS-guided bomb. It is. It's a lot cheaper. So these are things that are real threats. This is the real threat, guys. This really is the real threat coming to Europe, all right? So the bombed flights, you can bomb flights, yes. It's very expensive to bomb flights. You have to pay a lot of people off. But as to burning down shopping centers, burning down substations, very easy, guys, very easy. And as Google is saying there, guys, Europe's water, poison Europe's water. Ladies and gentlemen, I worked on a project in I worked on a project in, I can't remember what year it is. I think it was 2018. I worked on a project in 2018. I'm not going to tell you, know, it's fucking Thames Water. I worked on a project for Thames Water in 2018, right? I worked for a project for Thames Water in 2018, and Thames Water paid us to give them a threat analysis of poison in the water in reservoirs. That's why I tell you guys all the time. I tell you guys all the time to get fucking bottled water. If there's one thing, let me get this back up. Where's that comment gone? If there's one thing I tell you guys to do, you know what everybody's saying? Like, should we get this? Should we get that? I say, guys, listen, get water. Water, water, water. 3 liters of water per person per day. All right. I worked on a project for Thames Water, and what they said to us is, give us some mitigation strategies for drones polluting our water supply. That's what they said to us, and they paid us. And Thames Water decided that it wasn't feasible for them to protect the water sources. And it's not. It's absolutely not feasible, guys. Not in a million years is it feasible, right? So think about it, right? You've got these big reservoirs, yeah? You've got these huge reservoirs. You can stove a drone in from there, from anywhere. And I have to be very careful about what I say on these live streams. And I have to go with what's on the mainstream as well. So you can remember, all right, sarin. Is it sarin? Is it sarin? Is it sarin? No, sarin's gas, isn't it? Sarin. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. What's the thing that go on? What's the thing that got caught? The ricin. Sorry, guys, ricin. So, can you guys remember when I started talking about ricin? There's more of these things. So, ricin from the mainstream media, this is what's come out on the mainstream media, guys. I'm not saying this. Ricin can be produced at home. All right, ricin can be produced at home. All right, so if ricin can be produced at home, and Google it is saying Russia plotted to poison Europe's water, there's other things that can be made. These things can be made readily available in the United Kingdom, in Europe. You don't need to import this shit. You know, so when people come out and they say, Sean, is Europe going to be attacked by Russia? I'm like, yes, but not what you think. This is the real attack. This is the real attack here, guys, okay? It's burned down shopping centres. It's poison in the water supply. And, you know, maybe bombing flights to the US. You know, maybe. Bombing a flight, there's a lot that goes into bombing a flight. There's a lot that goes into bombing a flight, and it's very expensive, it's very costly, and it's very high risk. Burning down shopping centres is low risk. Poisoning the water supply is low risk, high reward. Get yourselves water, guys. Literally, get yourselves water. Right, guys, let me jump down. Injected meats? I don't know. Isn't that what you do with your girlfriend? I don't know. I don't know what injected meats means. Injected meats? I don't know. Give me more context, buddy. Give me more context. Eyeball Paul. We've got Eyeball Paul. No. Hang on. Where's Eyeball Paul? Eyeball Paul is saying this is all hypothetical. And listen, guys, yes, I agree. It's hypothetical. Apart from the stuff that has been burnt down, and apart from the soldiers that are dying in Ukraine, yeah, I mean, go and tell okay, Eyeball Paul. You know the guy that died in Ukraine, the British soldier that died in Ukraine? Do you think his family think it's hypothetical? I don't know. I would say they don't think it's hypothetical. I think they're mourning. Let me jump up, guys, and get some more comments. Katie Nana. Hello, Katie Nana. Hello, Katie Nana. Thank you for your comment, Katie Nana. And I hope you're going to continue commenting. Southeast water, unknown contaminants affecting 14,000 beginning in December. Yeah, I've been reporting on this, guys. You know, I've been reporting this for a while, the water supply. Southeast water, you know, when you turn your tap on, we all think it's safe, right? We all think it's safe. You know, have any of you ever had that tested? You know, has anybody ever had that tested? I think everybody should just get ready for the water system to be swizzled. and Leroy Footlong is saying, "Great, as if I'm not paranoid enough." So I don't know, for Leroy. Leroy, are you going to think there's some sort of Jewish cabal poison in the water? Is it a Jewish cabal poison in the water? I don't know. Give me the facts. Give me the facts. Right, let me jump down, guys. Let me jump down. Stephen is saying, Lord West, former Home Office Minister, said in 2008 there were attempts by 8 Al-Qaeda operatives to poison the water supplies of North London. Yeah, these things are here, guys. These things are here. These things are here. Right, listen, guys, I've got a couple of videos to share with you guys. I've got a couple of videos. In fact, have you had one video or 2 videos? Hang on, let me look. Yeah. I'll go with this one first. I'll go with the Trumpy Trump video. In fact, yeah, I'm going to go with the Trump video first, because Trump is bringing back Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. If you live in the United Kingdom, we all want Christmas back. I know I want Christmas back. So we've got Silly, who's in Israel, is saying she sent the secret team to poison to urinate in the water. Listen, guys, I've got a little video to share with you guys, a Trumpy Trump video. So how, you know, listen, guys, and I said that I think, excuse me. I said that I think there's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica in around about 2050. I don't know, guys. Maybe this might be a mass exodus to the United States, because Trump is coming out strong. Let me share this. Let me share this with you. Sorry, where's that thing? Where's that little cursor? Like, Trump's nailing it. He's going round to these look at how Trump is operating to how Biden was operating. Like, you didn't hear from Biden for months, and Trump's going out every day. He's rocking it like there's no tomorrow. So Trump's talking about Christmas here.
They said, we're going to bring back Christmas. Remember, the radical left wanted to get rid of the word Christmas. I said, I don't think that's going to work out.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that, guys? Look, and I get it. You know, I get there's a lot behind Trump, and I get all the pomp and the pageantry. I get it, guys. I do. But when somebody says that, he's got that crowd eating out of his hand. He's got me eating out of his hand.
And we did it, and now everybody's saying Merry Christmas again. But just over 1 year ago today, with your help, we saved America. That's what happened. We saved.
Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine here in the United Kingdom, and we are being squashed right now. We are being squashed. We're in that pan. The pan's boiling and the lid is bolted on. Can you imagine in the United Kingdom if we had a leader who came out and said, we're bringing back Christmas? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not feeling that festive spirit. I'm not feeling that festive spirit, guys. Feels like Keir Starmer, the Grinch, Angela Rayner has taken the Christmas magic away.
They said, we're going to bring back Christmas. Remember, the radical left wanted to get rid of the word Christmas. I said, I don't think that's going to work out. And we did it, and now everybody's saying Merry Christmas again. But just over 1 year ago today, with your help, we saved America. That's what happened. We saved.
We can hope, ladies and gentlemen, can't we? We can hope. We can hope. I guess we can hope. Maybe we'll have that one day, but right now it does not feel like that. If you live in the United Kingdom and you say Merry Christmas, it feels like you could get arrested. It really does. You know, it really does feel like you could get arrested. If you say Merry Christmas in the United... Look, guys, if you're not in the United Kingdom right now, all right? If you live outside the UK, this is the God's honest truth. This is the God's honest truth, right? If you live in the United Kingdom, I don't know if it can happen, but it feels like if you say Merry Christmas, you could get arrested for causing, alarm, distress, and despair. I think it's alarm, distress, and despair. Excuse me. Yeah, Sean. Yes, mate. We've heard you said Merry Christmas to someone and you caused them alarm, distress, and despair. I just said Merry Christmas, mate. Yeah, well, you should have said season's greetings. Can't you come down to the police station or we'll question you? Oh, fuck. How long will I be? Oh, we're going to keep you in for 3 days because we're going to get you done in anti-terror laws. What? I already said Merry Christmas. That, honestly, guys, that is what it feels like in the United Kingdom. It really does. It really does feel like that if you live in the United Kingdom. It really does. It really does. Sean, read it. It relates to your reasons for no nuclear war. Are we talking about aliens? Right, where's Googly's last comment? Right, UFOs are switching our nuclear weapons on and off, source claims. Okay, so this goes back to 1956. I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong. No, it wasn't 56. I think it was 56. I can't remember when it was. It might not be 1956. But in America, there is a well-documented case of UFOs, drones, call them whatever you want, flying over a US nuclear launch site, and they turned off all their nuclear weapons. I don't think nuclear weapons are ever going to be used, guys. I really don't. The reason why I say that, it's wild. When I start talking about the reason why I don't think nuclear weapons are ever going to be used, I see the people viewing going boom, 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 boom. All right. That's what I think, guys. You know, I don't think nuclear weapons are ever going to be used because I don't think aliens will let us use them. And I do think that there is some alien-human interaction here. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I am going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go far. I'm not going to go far into that. But what I will say is, if you don't think aliens are real, can somebody, like, guys, if you're watching right now and you think there's no such thing as aliens, what are crop circles? Like, what are crop circles? And what was that? Did you see that on the screen? I was just talking about aliens and something flew on the screen. Did anyone see that, or was that just me? I don't know. Maybe we've got aliens in this room. I think aliens are interdimensional, guys. I think aliens are interdimensional. I don't think they come here on tin saucers. I think they're operating in the same space. And look, guys, let me jump down. Ladies and gentlemen. I've got Googly saying it's the ghost of Christmas future. Don't say that. I don't want him to take me. I don't want him to take me and show me all this stuff. Oh, hang on. Let me look at the war map real quick. What are we on? Are we on? Hang on, guys. I'm just looking at the world map. I'm going to refresh this in a sec. Yeah, we've updated. Right, we've updated. So we are... Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys. So if you're watching for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna share the Ukraine war map with you right now. So remember when everybody was saying, can you guys remember when it was out on the mainstream that the Ukrainians were sending thousands of troops to defend Pokrovsk? This town here, Pokrovsk, doesn't look like it's been well defended. And I actually gave you guys an update at the time. It was like last week or the week before, I can't remember. And I spoke to my friend who's just got back from Pokrovsk, and he said, listen, Sean, Pokrovsk is over. It's not happening. Pokrovsk is gone. It's only a matter of time. I gave that to you guys, and I was very confident when I said to you guys that Pokrovsk is going to go. All the mainstream media were saying that the Ukrainians are holding on to it. And I said, look, I've just heard from a friend who is very well connected in Ukraine. What he's telling me is above what the media are telling the public. That's why you guys should like, comment, subscribe, and share my stuff. If you're watching, ladies and gentlemen, and you've not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff, because I don't talk about what's happening. I do talk about what's happening now. I don't gaslight you about what's happening now. I tell you guys what's coming in the future. So this was the war map as of the 7th of December. So if you zoom in, guys, the red denotes Russian occupied territory. And this map is really well kept. This map, honestly, guys, this map's really well kept. It's really well, it's independently done. I actually know the guy, Stanislav. I know the guy who operates this platform, and he's a straight up guy. I would say he's got potential to be the next to be a Ukrainian president. Anyway, a good one. He's a good guy. Anyway, so this war map here, Pokrovsk looks like it's already lost right at there. So this was the 7th. Now watch this area down here to the southeast. Right, so that's the 8th. This is the 8th. There, it just takes all that area up. And then the 9th, you're going to see this more area get taken by the Russians. More area taken by the Russians there. Now, and obviously it's not updated for the 10th because the information is not in. So when people say, when people are on the mainstream saying, this is not going to move forwards, it's not gonna, the Russians are about to lose. It's all well and good. You can tell people they're about to lose, but if they're winning you 12-0, you kind of can't tell them they're about to. Yeah. Like, imagine you're playing football, right? Imagine you're playing football. Imagine you're playing football, right? And you're losing 12-0, right? And it's half time. And you go in and you go, yeah, their strikers are getting tired. And then you go out for the next game and they'll whack 3 more in and you're like, okay, but now what? Yeah, any minute now they're going to get so exhausted. It doesn't fucking make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, guys. It doesn't make any sense. Right, let me guys, I need a wee. Right, I need a wee. Let me finish this and I'll go and have a wee. I'm gonna continue for a little bit, guys. I'm gonna continue for a little bit. You could be better, is saying, but considering propaganda is nothing new, at least 40,000 years old, no wonder people fall for it. I think I may have missed your last comment, mate. Katrina with a fantastic picture of a teenager Malinois is saying, I've seen orbs with you for ages. Dog, wolf, unicorn, pig, snow, snowman, snow. If you think aliens are real, The propaganda. Oh, right. Okay, right. Here we go. So, okay. So if you think it, okay, right. So here we go, guys, right? Okay. So you could be better. You know, when you go out of our, atmosphere, like, what do you think's out there? Do you think there's other planets? Like, what's out there? Like, what is out there? Are there other planets, or is that propaganda? Or is that propaganda? And let me know what you think is out there. And if it's not planets, what is actually out there? Right, guys, I do need to go for a wee. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go for a wee. And I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for waiting. I do appreciate it. I'm back. Right, let me jump down. Right, listen, guys, if you're just joining for the first time, we are talking about War is Here. British paratrooper has been killed in Ukraine. And when I talk about this, I am... Where is it? It's somewhere there. There you go. I used to serve in the parachute regiment. I spent a lot of time there. You guys can see like my beret there. I'm not one of those guys who wears the blazer and everything. It doesn't mean I'm any less committed. I just don't wear the blazers. I don't wear the blazers. I'm not one of these guys who goes to these, who goes to Remembrance Day and holds the flag. I go to Remembrance Day parades, but I don't hold the flag. I stand there in the sidelines undetected, and I pay my respects. I do pay my respects. So we are talking, ladies and gentlemen, the war is here. If you don't think that, you really are in denial. You really are in denial. Today, the news on the mainstream media in the United Kingdom, and I believe around the world, is that a British paratrooper, a serving British paratrooper. This was not one of the guys who went over there and joined the Ukrainian military. This is a serving British paratrooper, has been killed on active duty in Ukraine. That's the reality, So whether we want to believe it or not, whether you are in denial, and listen, denial is a luxury we can no longer afford. It's not, guys, really, it isn't. Like, you can deny something's happening only for so long, but ultimately that's a luxury that we don't have anymore because British soldiers are now dying in Ukraine. That's the reality. Not contractors, not people in NGOs, literal British armed forces. Whether you believe it or not, this war is here. Whether it's declared, whether there's not going to be, I don't believe anyway. I don't believe there's going to be some, well, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think there's going to be some grand, some grand ceremony where Keir Starmer he stands in front of number 10 with his lectern and his little glasses on because he's reading. And he says, I hereby announce that the Kingdom of the United Kingdom and their allies are officially at war with Russia. And they bang down a gavel. Not a chance. That's not going to happen, guys. All right. There's not going to be no grand Churchillian speech. Big Ben ringing, and all the people marching down. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like that, I think anyone that's clinging to the delusion that World War III hasn't begun, in fact, I'll ask that as a question, look, guys, in the chat, is anyone still hanging on to the delusion that World War III has not begun? Literally, does anyone think World War III has not begun? At what point do we, and if you don't think, okay, so here's the thing, right? Is anybody in the chat still under the delusion that World War III has not begun? And what would you, okay, honestly, guys, it's a serious question, right? And if you think that World War III has not begun, in your reality, what would make you believe that World War III has begun? It's a serious question. I mean, no disrespect to anyone. Everybody's opinions, equal, but mine's more equal than everybody else's. My opinion's worth 2 and everybody else's is worth 1. Some people's is worth like half as well. I think my opinion might actually be worth 10. We were talking about the facts earlier on today. If you've not seen my live stream earlier on today, I was giving a lot of facts and figures and numbers. But the reality is that the facts that come to the top of my head is Russia is producing, and I actually got this wrong on the live stream earlier on. I had to fact check myself, and I was wrong. It's actually worse. I thought that Britain had 200 tanks. We don't. We have 148 active. Sorry, we have 148 main battle tanks, which is a Challenger 2. We are not. Britain is not producing any more. We're not. None. We're not producing any more. All right. The Russians, bear that number in mind, guys. 148 main battle tanks in Britain. And I would say at least half of them don't work. That's the reality, guys. That is just how fleets work. They don't, a lot of them need spares. They need maintenance. You can't get the part, something else. Then you put the part on and something else goes wrong. So I would say half of them don't work. But we'll go with 148, right? We'll go with 148 because that's what the official numbers are. The Russians, if you guys have not seen the live stream of this, I don't want to go into it now. I gave the facts and where it came from. The Russians are producing around 150 tanks per month. So in 1 month, the Russians produce more tanks than the entire British fleet. But don't worry, guys, because the economy is about to collapse. Their kit and equipment's terrible, and they're losing. But they're taking more ground. They're producing more stuff. And one of the things, again, I don't want to rehash things I was saying earlier. One of the things I was saying earlier is, and this was from an article from the BBC. I don't usually share BBC articles, but this was a really good article. Don't crucify me in the chat, guys. Don't crucify me in the chat. It really was a good article, and I shared it with you guys. In this article in the BBC, one of the telling lines for me was, Britain, and I think it said Britain and its allies are nowhere near this. And that's true. That really is true, So we've got World War III. That's there. That's World War III. We've also got World War IV. PEDs. Odin, dva, tri, čtyři. Sorry, čtyři. WW3, which would be the Ukrainian. We've also got World War IV, which is going to be fought concurrently. World War IV is the civil wars, it's the civil unrest, it's the civil conflicts that are going to be fought on our streets. And this is coming. You can see it. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you can't see it. Please, guys, tell me I'm wrong. You know, this is fueled by mass migration, uncontrolled migration, you know, where we have segregated ourselves. I don't know why. Honestly, guys, I don't know why. We've done this. We've done this to ourselves every day, you know, literally every day, guys. Like, it's very strange. If you live in the United Kingdom, it's very strange because we are numb to this now. We are numb to seeing headlines of brown people's faces on the news saying, Rochester rape gang jailed for this long. All right, okay, yeah, a load of brown people. Yeah, okay, fair enough, or whatever. Yeah, it just happens, yeah. And then the next day, a load of brown people on the faces, like loads of different brown people. You know, another rape gang. We're like, yeah, another rape gang. Yeah, whatever. Another gang. You know, but now it's taken a new turn. Guys, look, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that doesn't happen in the United Kingdom. Now we've taken a new turn. We've taken a new, like a sinister turn. Because it's not just crimes against young girls. It's not just crimes against young boys. Yeah, young boys are being raped as well. Animals. Yes, fucking donkeys, guys. Donkeys are getting... I can't even say it with a straight face because it's so wild, right? If you live in the United Kingdom, you don't just have to worry about your girls. You don't just have to worry about the young boys. They take priority, right? You have to worry about animals getting raped. Because, yeah, apparently there's a group of... Look, guys, I think this was in GB News. It was certainly on the headlines. You guys can go and Google it yourselves. You know, apparently migrants are going around raping animals, donkeys. I'm not making this up, guys. This is in the headlines. This is in the headlines. Now, for simplicity, if you guys want to know where you fit in, like if you guys want to know where you fit in now, you know, we are fitting in. If you're over 30, you're going to be fighting World War IV. So think when your birthday was. Count the rotations around the sun that you've done. You know, I've done, what have I done? Listen, guys, I've done 43 rotations around the sun, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm an absolute beast. I am. You're not going to get many of me. You're not going to get many of me. Like, guys like me don't come along very often. And when they do, you know about it. I leave a wake of destruction behind me. Death, destruction, mayhem, carnage, people running for their lives, people running for their wives, but in different contexts. But if you're over 30, you're going to be fighting World War IV. If you're under 30, you're going to be fighting World War III. That's the way we are, guys. That is literally the way we are right now, guys. Well, that's where we are, you know. It's crazy. It is actually absolutely bonkers. Band again is saying, Sean, you're right. Thank you, buddy. Eyeball Paul is saying, always, listen, guys, this is not me saying this. I'm just reading Eyeball Paul's comment, all right? Always Afghans too, and we bought 30 to 40,000 of them when NATO pulled out of, he's talking about, not Ukraine, Afghan. It's crazy, guys. It's absolutely crazy. We are bringing these people in and we're paying for them. Well, guys, I'm going to go into the migrants a minute. I was in, can I share some of the footage with you guys now? Maybe I can. No, I'm not going to. I was in northern France, like last week or last weekend, actually. I was in northern France. I was looking at the migrant crisis. We're done. Europe is done. Just consider, all right? I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna. White people need to stop being guilty. White people built everything. Everything. And if they didn't, tell me what they didn't build. Tell me why. I used to get people come on here and argue with me, like, you know, saying like, you know, Go to Antarctica. We don't want your white people on our continent. I'm like, all right, we'll go. We'll take all our technology, you know, electricity, medicine, you know, aircraft, internal combustion engine. You know, we'll take all that shit with us. I'm good with that. I am absolutely good with that, guys. Absolutely good with that. Because I don't, you know, when we talk about the military, I'm going to talk about the military because look, guys, I've only ever worked, you know, predominantly with white men in the military, and white men, white Christian men, come together to be this greater than the sum of their own parts. Like so fantastic, it's unbelievable. You know, let me share with you guys another video real quick. What did I just do there? Not that one. I think it's this one. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm going to, it's only 1 minute 14. All right, let's just see what he says. He's got a little self-defense book in the background.
All that happens is that Africa goes from a starving population of 200 million to a starving population of 800 million to a starving population of 1 billion. And now they're a starving population of 1.3 billion. And the answer, according to the left, is take even more money from white men in America and give it to Africa. This is a black hole of consumption. And all we're doing is creating more starving Africans. It strikes me as a bad plan. But I'm supposed to feel guilty about it. And here's the thing.
Let's get rid of white guilt, guys. Let's get rid of white guilt.
This line of propaganda will work. It can work. You know why? Because the majority of the voting public in America is women. And this kind of emotional-laden propaganda not only appeals...
I've told you guys for long ago, women shouldn't be able to vote. I've told you, women should not be able to vote. They shouldn't. It's ridiculous that women vote.
...to women, but women are themselves by nature amenable to resources being taken from white men and distributed to those who need it, so it'll be fair. Like Timmy brought in a bag of candy to kindergarten. He better have brought enough for everybody. Got to be fair.
So it's just one of the tropes I've been saying on this channel. And I know people don't like this. I don't think women should vote. Like, I don't think women need to vote. Like, the world would be better if women didn't vote. It really would, guys. And it's nothing. This is nothing against women. I get a load of shit in the comments when I say that women shouldn't be able to vote. But it's nothing against women. It kind of is. It definitely is. No, it's definitely against women. It's not. So, like, right, girls, and I've said this so many times, right? Like, girls, would you rather stay at home with the kids, or would you rather be going out to work, working a 9 till 5, not seeing your kids, leaving the house at 7:30, you're doing shit, you're in the office, but you're a girl boss, you're doing this, you're doing that. You know, the kids, your kids who you gave birth to are with some social worker or some childminder who's teaching your kids, and, you know, the social worker, when, you know, if there's a big bang, your kids run to the social worker. Like, what do you want? Do you want to live in utopia? Or do you want to be able to vote every 4 years? Because it's not doing well. Honestly, you know, society's broken. Society's broken. You know, it really has. I don't think women should be... Look, guys, if I was in charge, I would say to the girls, I'd say, right, girls, I can deal with all your shit. I will take absolute responsibility for your happiness. I will provide for you. I will make sure you don't want for anything else. All right. I will make sure you're safe. I will make sure you're protected. I will make sure the children are okay. But you gotta let me do my shit. You gotta let me do my white man shit. All right? You really do. Girls, you need to let white men do their white men shit. Right, let me jump down, guys. Let me jump down. Gun Commando. Gun Commando. Oh, where did Gun Commando? Gun Commando said something like, what did Gun Commando? I don't know. Gun Commando said something, but it's gone. Silly is saying, Sean, obviously you didn't meet enough Israeli women. Well, here's the thing, people that look, there's a lot of like, and look, guys, I'll be clear. I don't know if there's a cabal of like Jewish billionaires ruling the world. I don't know if that's happening. What I do know is the Jewish people have a homeland where they don't take shit off anyone else. If you're a Christian right now, wouldn't you love a homeland? Like, if you're a Christian right now, wouldn't you love a homeland? Somewhere that you could go to and you know you're safe. You know that the people of that country are going to fight for you and your rights hand over foot. I know I would. I know I would love that. I really do. I know I would love that. Piers Morgan would say, at least we've got curry. Listen, guys, I'm not going to lie. I like a curry. I do. I like a good curry. I think I'm going to have, I'm going to have a curry tonight. I'm going to have a curry tonight. I am. When we used to work in, I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to, do you know what? How do I say this without it coming out wrong? Jesus. How do I say this? I used to work in a country and we used to get access to a lot of pigs, right? We used to get access to a lot of pigs. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really like pork. It's not my thing. I don't like pork. I'm definitely not Muslim. I just don't like pork. I like bacon, and I know what you're going to say. Bacon's pork, and I get that. But like, what I mean is like, those pork fillets, I just don't like them. They smell horrible. I don't like them. I do like bacon, nice crispy bacon. I love a good bacon sandwich. But what we used to do is we used to do a Crusader curry, and we used to use pork in the Crusader curry, just as an insult to some people. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start to close this down now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I've had some great comments. April is saying, you see the young girls at my school, they put the boys to shame. Look, guys, girls are emotional, all right? Girls are emotional, all right? Women are emotional, all right? Women's brains operate differently to men's. I can't get, when Sarah's driving somewhere, I can't get in the car with her. If we are driving from point A to point B, she'll find all these different points and circles, and she'll be all over the place. I'm like, Sarah, literally, let's just drive the shortest route to get there at the most efficient point. All right. So you kind of like, when you're dealing with big things, you don't need people that are emotional. You need cold, calculating people, and men are the most cold and calculating. White men, especially, guys. White men, especially, they are fantastic. I love white men. I love being a white man. I'm proud of being who's proud of being a white man? And my eyes are blue. My jeans are blue, and my eyes are blue. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now. I'm going to close this down now. You look, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you should be proud of who you are. You should be proud of who you are and where you came from. And that's across the board. Whether you're an Iraqi, you should be proud of Iraq. Go and live in Iraq. Be proud of Iraq, all right? Be proud of all Iraq's technological advancements, all right? Go and be proud of Iraq. If you're from Somalia, be proud of being Somalian. Go and live in Somalia. Be proud of what Somalia has achieved. Be proud of all the technological, ecological, sociological advancements that Somalia has done. You know, go and be proud, right? Anywhere, any country that you are, you know, you should be proud, and you should be proud of who you are, and you shouldn't have to hide who you are. You shouldn't. You know, you shouldn't have to hide who you are. It's ridiculous. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to leave. Oh, wow. I know what goes. Silly Gallardi is saying, good night, all. As much as I love Christmas, I do Hanukkah. Silly does Hanukkah is starting on Sunday. So happy Hanukkah on Sunday for Silly. And good night, everyone. Listen, guys, just be proud of who you are. Start walking with your heads held high. Start walking with your heads held high. Don't let other people think that they're better than you, because they are absolutely not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back on at 10. I'll be back on at 10 tomorrow morning. I bid you good evening, and I genuinely am. I'm going to go and have a curry. I'm going to go to the takeaway. I'm going to get either a beef or a lamb vindaloo, pilau rice, 2 chapatis, 4 poppadoms, and a pickle tray. Because that's how I roll, guys. That's how I roll. I may do a short on it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys later, and I will see you guys at 10. And I bid you good evening.